What's going on, everybody? This is Joe. I am back again with, as you can see, another pre-release kit opening. I did one of these last week as well. I'm back for another one this week. Next week, maybe it'll be something different. Maybe it'll be a pre-release kit again. Who knows? I still have lots more product to open. We're still looking for sweet stuff, kind of as always. Why not? And similar to the last video, we are going to open it up. We're going to look at what we get, and I'm going to quickly discuss what deck I would make out of this. See if you guys agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. As usual, we have our Lazotep D20. I love these things. They're so cool. Breath of fresh air, nice and different from the 5-color things that we've gotten in the past, which are not terrible, but these are just different and cooler. So we have the Welcome Initiate thing. We have the Trial of the 5 Gods. And let's zoom in so that you guys can see what our promo is. And it is a Harsh Mentor. Interesting. If you watched our last video, it wasn't our promo, but it's still a little reminiscent of what happened last time. So Harsh Mentor is not a bad promo. I think at the time that the pre-release was, this thing was worth a lot more money than it is now. I think people have kind of seen that it didn't make a lot of an impact in Standard. Maybe it will in more Eternal formats, who knows. But a Harsh Mentor in foil, especially if this thing gets good based on the speculation, I'm happy to have it. So we're going to leave that on the side. It's not actually very good for Limited, so I doubt we're going to be putting it in our deck, but never say never. So I'll leave it off on the side, and I will not be taking it out of this plastic, because there's no need to do that. As always with pre-release kits, we have 6 packs. This is a Curator of Mysteries pack. Let's see what we get. Usually pre-release kits have some sweet stuff in them. It is personally my favorite form of sealed product that Wizards of the Coast releases. So let's see what we get. We have a Naga Oracle to start, Tormenting Voice, Supply Caravan, Illusory Wrappings, a Haze of Pollen, Festering Mummy, Quarry Hauler, Unburden, Splendid Agony, I love Splendid Agony, a Hyena pack, and a Censor is our first uncommon, pretty sweet uncommon if you're looking to do counterspell stuff. Getting it pretty early is when it's relevant for them paying 1. If you get this later, it doesn't feel as good, but that's what cycling's for. So here's Censor as our first uncommon. A Trial in Trial of Solidarity is the second, so if we get some cartouches and we're in white, this might be a good idea to try to do some shenanigans with bouncing trials back and forth. And our third is, speaking of trials, a Trial of Knowledge. So two trials in so far. That's pretty interesting. Like I said, if we get some cartouches that we want to be giving our creatures, that's not bad to have 2 trials. Our first rare or mythic in the box is a New Perspectives. In Limited, I don't know. I mean, this card's great and constructed now that with the benefit of hindsight and seeing that people really like this card. In Constructed, I mean, in Limited, I mean, you're drawing 3 cards. It's 6 mana. And this is probably not going to happen for you in Limited. Having 7 or more cards and paying 0 rather than paying cycling costs. It's definitely a possibility, but I don't see it. But maybe I can be proven wrong. I would probably lean against playing this. But if you really need the card draw and you want to, couple it with a Trial of Knowledge, for example, it's a possibility. We'll leave it on the side. Is there anything behind the New Perspectives? Nope. We have an island, although there is seemingly a blue theme so far, and an insect token that you get from the Nest of Scarabs. We move on to the Battlefield Scavenger, I believe is his name, pack. And let's see what he has for us. Okay, so we start with a Hieroglyphic Illumination. A cartouche in the Cartouche of Zeal. Unfortunately, our trials were white and blue, but here's a red cartouche. Here's the white cartouche, so we'll remember that for the trial. We have a white cartouche in Cartouche of Solidarity. We also have the blue cartouche for the blue trial. So we now have 2 trials and 2 cartouches on color. That's pretty sweet in the Cartouche of Knowledge. We have a Pouncing Cheetah. That card's pretty sweet. Wander in Death is nice with cycling as well. Speaking of cycling, Greater Sandworm, if you want a big beefy guy, if you get him late, or you cycle it away if you get it too early. A Miasmic Mummy for discarding or zombie strategy, so that's pretty sweet. We have a final reward. This should go in every black deck ever, and if you get enough of them, you probably should splash for it, because this is an amazing removal spell. It is unconditional, and it gets rid of gods. Now, with Trials, now we have a monument in Kefnet's Monument, so something else relating to blue. Here's the Battlefield Scavenger. I was right about his name. And it's a Jackal Rogue. It's good if you're in the Exert deck, but otherwise I'm not sure that this guy does it for me personally. And behind the Scavenger, we have a Grasping Dunes, something else that kind of doesn't do it for me. You can end up sacking this land later on to put a -1/-1 counter on something, but I don't know that it's technically worth it. I'd much rather have some form of fixing or something like that. But there's a Grasping Dunes. Our rare or mythic is a Vizier of Many Faces. So we were discussing the blue theme. We got new perspectives last time. We have Vizier now, Kefnet's Monument, Trial of Knowledge, and Blue Cartouche. Yeah, so far blue is looking pretty good for us. And Vizier of Many Faces is definitely a solid pickup as a clone effect with Embalm as well. That's pretty sweet. So maybe we're in blue. Behind the Vizier, anything else? We have a foil. Wow. That's actually pretty sweet for value, not necessarily for the deck, but maybe if we're playing any of these colors. But there's a foil dual land in Sheltered Thicket, one of the cycle lands. Usually I don't like opening these in pre-release kits because it feels kind of bad to have this as one of your rares, because it doesn't really help you point or help you go in a specific direction with your deck. But getting one in foil to get some value is pretty awesome. So here's a Sheltered Thicket foil. Behind the Sheltered Thicket, we have a Plains and a zombie token. We move on, and we see what we get out of this pack. That was pretty sweet. I like Sheltered Thicket in rare. That's definitely, I think, the coolest thing we've opened so far. Nimbleblade Kenra. Fanbearer is a fantastic card. I like this card a lot. We're blue. Are we white? I mean, not necessarily just straight off Fanbearer. Speaking of blue, here's a cancel for some counter spells. Thresher Lizard, another Wander in Death, another Greater Sandworm, another Unburden, Pouncing Cheetah again, another Final Reward. That's relevant. 2 Final Rewards is really sweet. We have another Cartouche, the green Cartouche, for Cartouche of Strength. Do we have one of each now? No, I think we're still missing black. We're missing black Cartouche. Cartouche of Ambition. But here's Cartouche of Strength. Our first uncommon is Onward to Victory. Neither of these are blue, but if we're in red, then it's viable. Or if we can somehow discard and we want to be in white and we really want to play this, then there's this as well. But otherwise, it's kind of just here for now. Speaking of cards that are just here for now, this is unplayable. This is by force. If we're somehow in red, sure, we'll keep it in our sideboard, and if our opponent has monuments that we care about or some of the things that get brick counters on it, we can board this in, but this will never, ever make my main deck ever in Limited. So here's a by force. And another Aftermath card, or split card, in Spring to Mind. This card, actually, I think is also unplayable. So I'm not a big fan of these uncommons in this pack. You tap 3 mana to get a land and put it onto the battlefield, which kind of ramps you. But then the Aftermath is you tap 6 to draw 2 cards. It just seems like it's really underwhelming. So I'm not a huge fan of Spring to Mind. Let me know in the comments if I'm totally wrong and, you know, I should always play Spring to Mind. Maybe I'll learn something, but I am not a fan of this. Our rare or mythic, though, is... Wow. Okay. It's the least expensive of the gods, value-wise, but we were talking about if we are white, we have Oketra the True in the white god, our first mythic of the box. And a pretty sweet one. Double strike, indestructible. It can't attack or block unless you control at least 3 other creatures. So you kind of want to be a creature-heavy deck. And if we're looking at blue, we aren't necessarily, because we're doing but we have a lot of like card draw and stuff, so we might be able to. Let's see if we can pick up an Aven Wind Guide. That's kind of what you're looking for your Embalm strategy, and that would go with our Vizier of Many Faces that we have. We shall see. But here's Oketra the True, definitely not something I'm going to complain about. Behind Oketra, we have a Forest and one of these punch-out tokens. We have 3 packs left. We are only halfway through. We have a Combat Celebrant pack next. Let's see what he has for us. This is a sweet kit so far. We got the foil Harsh Mentor as our promo. We got a foil Rare, and we got a Mythic. So that's pretty awesome. We have a Bloodlust Insider to start. So far with what we've seen, this is not the direction that we're going, but here's a Bloodlust Insider. Ornery Kudu's not bad. I don't think we're near green yet either. We haven't seen anything crazy to pull us in that direction. Another Miasmic Mummy. Takrop Elite's pretty sweet if we're playing white. This isn't bad at all. This is more exert, but you can exert this guy to pump your whole team. And if he's the only guy on your field, or he's the only one that you're attacking with because he has flying, then you just don't exert him and attack with a 2/2 flyer. Behind Takrop Elite, Violent Impact, even if we were in red, probably something we wouldn't be playing. Painted Bluffs if we really, really need to fix our mana, because this is only a filter land, so it's definitely not the best, but here's a Painted Bluffs. We have an Aven Initiate. This is what we're looking for if we are looking for Embalm, if we're looking for blue. This is pretty sweet, getting an Aven Initiate. A Gust Walker is also something that I would do in blue-white. It can attack as a 3/3 flyer if you need evasion. If you play it early and they don't have anything, you can just attack for 2 and not exert it. We have a Supernatural Stamina. Card's just okay. We have a Manglehorn as our first uncommon. I don't know why we are getting so much artifact hate in this box in our uncommon slot, but I'm not a fan of it. I'm not really a fan of this card to begin with. Plus, we haven't seen anything insane in green. So there's that. Speaking of things in green, this one's actually good. It doesn't automatically pull us into green, but if we get some sweet stuff, this one helps us. Exemplar of Strength is a really good green uncommon. And Stir the Sands. If we were black, this would be awesome as well. I really like Stir the Sands. You get some zombies. It works well in the zombie strategy. It actually works well for Amonkhet-Pre, for example, because you need 3 other creatures, and then you just play this and you get 3 other creatures. So that could be nice, but I don't think we're in black yet. And our rare or mythic in this pack is a Never to Return. Maybe we are in black? Who knows? We'll talk about it later. But still, Never to Return is a sweet Aftermath card. I was discussing the underwhelming ones earlier. Never to Return is a really nice one, even just for Never. To destroy target creature or planeswalker. It is sorcery speed, but it's also 3 mana. It is double black, so it is a commitment to black. You can't easily splash this card. And Return gets creatures back, or exiles a card from your graveyard to get a zombie, or from a graveyard. So it could be your opponents. You could get rid of one of their Aftermath cards. You could get rid of one of their Embalm creatures. This is not bad at all. It would be a nice removal spell. We do have those final rewards, so this is definitely a consideration. Behind that, we have a foil, and it's a foil white card. It's a common in the Retcrop Spearmaster. The foiling on there is gorgeous. Look at that. I like that a lot. It's almost the whole card is in foil. I think his face is not, but otherwise it is. And this guy can become a 4/1 first striker if you exert him, and he's on turn 3. So you could like Gustwalker turn 2, this guy turn 3, you have Exerters out, Aven Initiate turn 4. Again, this is if we're going white-blue, but still, this is a really nice one, and another foil out of this box, which is awesome. So there's that. We then get a full art Plains. I would totally play this in my deck as well, just to show off a little bit. And a Worm token if we get the Sandworm Convergence, but we're probably still not in green. So there's that. We have 2 packs left. Our friend Amonkhet-Pre the True. This little lady has already made an appearance. Let's see what her pack has in store for us. We start with the Heckma Sentinels. This doesn't really go in the white-blue strategy, if that is where we're going. It's more for the cycle discard blue-black deck, but here's a Heckma Sentinels. Sparring Mummy is also kind of not where I want to be with the white deck that we've been talking about. Spidery Grasp is not bad, but again, we're nowhere near green. Blighted Bat is not bad either. If we do go black for any particular reason, we could totally play a Blighted Bat. This is a great card. Another Painted Bluffs for more fixing if we need it, because we haven't seen any Evolving Wilds yet. Another Aven Initiate, that's really sweet to pick up. Another Gustwalker, also pretty good. We talked about that already. Supernatural Stamina, we've also discussed that. Magma Spray is nice. We're kind of nowhere near red, but Magma Spray is pretty sweet. We have a Decision Paralysis. This is not a bad removal spell by any means, or sorry, it's kind of a tempo spell to tap creatures and they don't untap during their controller's next untap step, but still, this is kind of nice to have this to get 2 blockers out of the way, to get 2 big attackers out of the way. You can do it for 2 turns if you play it strategically, since it's an instant. So yeah, there's decision paralysis. We have Bantu's Monument is our first uncommon in this pack. So we have another monument in black. If we're going in black and we want to play this, this is not bad. Every creature spell that you play, whether it's black or not, drains your opponent for 1 and you gain 1. And all black creature spells cost 1 less. So that's not bad at all. Speaking of black creatures, this is one of my favorite cards of the set, if not my favorite card in the set, in Baleful Amonkhet. So black is definitely making a comeback in my eyes. So it's kind of a 3-color fight right now. But here's Baleful Amonkhet, and our last is the Edifice of Authority. If you're in an aggressive deck, this card's bad, but otherwise this card's amazing. I would put this in every deck that I could, again, unless I'm trying to be aggressive, which so far we are not. Here's Edifice of Authority. You can, even just before the bricks get on it, this card's great to just make something not be able to attack. Once you have 3 bricks on it, it then can't block either or use its activated abilities until your next turn. So if there's something that they might have wanted to do on your turn, you can respond, things like that. This is a great card. If you haven't had the opportunity to use it in Limited yet, let alone in Sealed, you should definitely do so. I love this card a lot. And our rare or mythic is a Commit to Memory. This card's kind of not good enough, in my opinion. Yeah, the memory part, you kind of have to have a very specific deck for memory to work. Obviously, commit is one thing. You can counter a spell basically and put it on top of their library, second from the top, or bounce something to the top of their library, second from the top. Now, the memory works well with it because then you're shuffling it away because you make them shuffle their deck, but you have to have 10 mana for that to work, or over 2 turns because it's second from the top. But still, I'm not a huge fan of Commit to Memory. Behind Commit to Memory, just a mountain and a Top Crop Skirmisher token. So if we end up playing that Embalm strategy, we actually have a token for it. Here's a Curator of Mysteries pack. It is our final pack. Let's see what we get, and let's see then if we can make the tough decision between white, blue, black, all 3, 2 out of the 3, 1 out of the 3, who knows? We'll find out in a second. Fling to start. Clearly not something we're looking at. Anointed Priest is great if we're in the Embalm strategy. This is something that we want. It has Embalm, and it cares about creature tokens entering. Embalm creatures are tokens when they come into play after Embalm. Quarry Hauler is good. We're nowhere near Quarry Hauler, though. We're nowhere near green. Scarab Feast, even if we're in black, isn't good. We don't have a lot of cards that care about cycling, and if we did, this isn't really one of the ones we'd want to use it for. Here's the Black Cartouche. We finally got it. It works with our trials if we're doing blue or white with this. This cartouche will still bounce an off-color trial, so a Cartouche of Ambition, and this is a sweet one. A -1/-1 counter on one thing, a +1/+1 on the other, and lifelink, so that's pretty sweet. We have a Nefcrop Entangler, still kind of nowhere near red. Oshra Cultivator, even if we were in green. Shimmerscale Drake is a nice pickup in blue. It has cycling if you get it early. If you get it later, or if you have the mana for it, it's just a 3/4 flyer, which is really, really awesome. A Blazing Volley, still nowhere near red, and I'm not a huge fan. Painful Lesson would be kind of a 23rd card. Sure, you can make your opponent lose if they're on 2 life or less, because you can just make them draw the cards and lose the life. Otherwise, it's slight card advantage, but if we're part blue, we don't need this because we can just draw cards without having to lose life for it. Consuming Fervor is a sweet card if we were aggressive. We really don't have the cards to back that up, though, so that goes on the side. Open into Wonder is amazing. This can either draw you cards if you're behind, you get 1 or 2 small, tiny creatures through and draw cards because you make them unblockable, or you can win You just make your last couple of creatures unblockable, attack, and deal that last couple of points of damage. Either way, this card's fantastic. If you have nothing on the field, it feels really bad to draw this, but there are still definitely ways that you can use this to your advantage. So I like Open Into Wonder a lot, and it's in blue, so that kind of pushes us a little bit further. And we have Decimator Beetle. Now, I love this card, but unfortunately we have not seen enough green, and the black that we've seen is not heavy -1/-1 counter-based, so I don't think Decimator Beetle makes the cut for us, again, unfortunately. And our last rare or mythic is a Shadow of the Grave. Again, we're not really cycling or discarding, it's not that deck. It's a black rare, but it's not really one we're going to be able to use, so that's fine. We'll just look at the rest of the stuff that we have. But here is a Shadow of the Grave. Behind that, just a Swamp and a Warrior token. So let's look at what we have here. We'll zoom out so we can talk about this a little bit. We have, for our rares, because that's kind of what you want to look at, we have the foil Harsh Mentor that we talked about. This is not, one, we haven't really seen a lot of red, but two, I said I didn't think it was good and limited. I stick by that statement, so I'm going to leave that off on the side. We just talked about, let's see, maybe we'll zoom out once we have more stuff to look at. We have Shadow of the Grave, which I said I don't think is that good. Commit to Memory I'm not a huge fan of, but it is in blue, and we might be blue, so I'll leave that on the side here for us. The Ret Crop Spearmaster, if we're in white, is great. If we're in black, Never to Return is good. Amonkhet-Pre, again, in white, fantastic. The Sheltered Thicket is just value. We're not playing it because we are neither red nor green, which is kind of funny that this is the land that they would give us and in a box that really has no support for red or green. But I'll leave it on the side because it's value. Why not? Vizier of Many Faces is definitely a card that we would include if we are blue, and New Perspectives is also a maybe. So far, we have two maybes in blue in New Perspectives and Commit to Memory, a definite in blue for Vizier of Many Faces. We have a definite in Never to Return, and we have a definite in Amonkhet-Pre the True. So these are just our rares and mythics, but if you've ever played Limited before, you know that you don't win with your, or you can sometimes win with your rares and mythics, but you can't if you don't have a strong support in uncommons and commons. So we said Decimator Beetle's out. Open Into Wonder is definitely something we would consider. Consuming Fervor is out. Edifice is in. Baleful Amit's in. Bontu's Monument is a maybe. Stir the Sands is great. Exemplar of Strength is a no. So is the Manglehorn. Spring to Mind is a no. By Force is a no. Onward to Victory is no. 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 Kefnet's Monument is blue. Trial of Knowledge is blue. Trial of Solidarity is white. Censor is blue. Again, Edifice, based on what we've seen, no matter what, Edifice will be good in our deck. Maybe we cut it, maybe we don't, but this kind of, no matter what, I mean, it goes in any of these three piles right now. I know in black that we're going to be getting the final rewards here, but let's see. No, no, yes for blue, no, no, yes for black, no, no, Anointer Priest. I'm hoping you guys can see these. I'm trying to do it pretty quickly so that we can get through this. Decision Paralysis would be a yes. These can go off to the side. It's still a no on that. Yes here. Yes here. Painted Bluffs is a maybe. I don't think we're going three colors. But if we are, since this is the only fixing that we have, even in green, we really didn't see a lot of fixing. We had the Spring, half of Spring to Mind, and the Oshra Cultivators, but yeah, Painted Bluffs is the only fixing we have for these three colors, which pretty much means that we're not in three colors. So the Painted Bluffs will go off to the side. Blighted Bat is fine. Spidery Grass, Sparring Mummy was kind of a no, so was Heckma Sentinels, so was Supernatural Stamina. We have another Gust Walker, another Aven Initiate. Here's the other Painted Bluffs. Top Crop Elite's great, as I said. I would totally play that card. I would play Miasmic Mummy. So this is kind of what you do if you guys have never made a deck before. You kind of spread it out. It's a lot faster than how I'm doing it here because I want you guys to see the decisions I'm making. No to Unburden. No. This is a maybe. I'm going to put this up here because it's a maybe. Cancel is also a maybe. Fanbearer is yes. Final reward again is yes. Miasmic Mummy, sure. Greater Sandworm, another Wander in Death. Here's the cartouche and the cartouche. No on this one. Drawing cards is great. No on the Hyena pack. Splendid Agony is great. I love that card a lot. Quarry Hauler, Festering Mummy is great. No on the Haze of Pollen. Maybe on Illusory Wrappings. Yes for Supply Caravan. Gets you 2 creatures in 1. Naga Oracle is great for card value. So if you just count up the numbers that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in black, plus 2 maybes up here for up to 14. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in censor, 9, 10, 11, 12, and another 2 here as well. And if you're looking for 23 playables with your Edifice of Authority as well, I think, even though we have Amonkhet-Pre, it looks like we could go either black or blue and white with Edifice of Authority, or we could just go black-blue. In terms of bombs, you guys kind of saw it. I love Baleful Amonkhet, wherever it disappeared to. I don't know where it went, but you guys saw the Baleful Amonkhet around here somewhere. There he is. I love Baleful Amonkhet. I like Never to Return a lot as a removal spell. You also have both of your final rewards here, which are really, really important. They are not sideboard. They just go in your deck. Festering Mummy is a low drop. Miasmic Mummy is a low drop. So you have lower cost creatures here. Blighted Bat as well. With the cartouche, you have Stir the Sands for later in the game. Bantu's Monument can help you in draining your opponent a little bit. But it's a little creature light. We have, 4 creatures, or 5 if you count Baleful Amonkhet. That's a little low creature-wise. In blue, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures, 5 creatures. So that's a little light as well. And in white, of course, you're going to have creatures. You have, 1, which makes another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus the cartouche makes 1 for you as well, 9. If you want to be a little more control-y, but you want to be doing damage as well, because we have no win conditions besides attacking out or open into Wondering to attack our opponent for those last couple of points of damage. So at this point, it kind of looks like it depends on what you're prioritizing. Black, as black is wont to do, has a lot of removal spells. It's got Never for Never to Return. It's got Return as well if you're trying to get rid of Aftermath. It's got 2 final rewards, and it's got some sweet creatures that make some solid impact. If you want creatures, you're in white. It makes more creatures. Amonkhet-Pre is a great finisher for you. Getting a Trial of Solidarity out there, maybe even, God forbid, in a turn where you play Open into Wonder. If you're white-blue, you can Trial of Solidarity, Open into Wonder, and just swing out for the win. And then again, in blue, you're a little bit more control-y. You're drawing cards. You're getting to where you want to be. You're getting lands. You can fly over the top with both Cartouche, double Aven Initiate. You saw the Gustwalkers in white. The Shimmer Scale Drake, I think. And with Vizier of Many Faces, you can copy the best creature on the field, yours or your opponent's. You have Kefnet's Monument, which keeps some creatures tapped down. Open into Wonder again, as we talked about. Trial of Knowledge to draw cards. Cartouches to bounce. Oddly enough, since the first pack that we opened had the white trial and the blue trial, and we ended up with a cartouche of each, My opinion is the removal is good, but I think if we can get fast enough with this, drawing into evasive creatures, using our card draw and our pumps to get to the creatures that we want to get to, I would probably go white-blue. This is 100% a tough decision, and so if you disagree with me, tell me which one of these two you would cut. Tell me if you'd play neither. Tell me if you'd play maybe red or green. Maybe I was too quick to get rid of them, but I would play these two colors, like I said, with Edifice of Authority. I think we have enough cards to support us here to get us there. We have a god, and no, the Mythic is not the reason why I picked it. I'm very sad to get rid of the removal in Never, the 2 final rewards, and the Baleful Amonkhet here, among everything else that was in this stack. But me personally, I would go with a white-blue deck with Edifice of Authority. That being said, I am going to leave you guys looking at the queen, if you will, of white, Amonkhet-Pre the True, because we opened this Mythic. We also got that foil rare in the Sheltered Thicket, and I'm pretty happy with that as well. But still, I'm going to leave you guys looking at this. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments down below. I appreciate you hanging out with me and giving me your feedback, if you do, on what you would have done with this box. Would you have been happy to open this box? Because I'm pretty happy to have opened this box. I've been Joe. This is Geek for All. Check out some of the other videos on our channel. You'll see them here. If you think that I'm okay at deck building, or you think that you want to berate me some more on my deck building, because I'm sure I could use some improvement. I've been putting up some draft videos, so you should definitely go check those out. Those have been some bonus videos. We had one this past weekend and one last week as well. So check those out. Let me know what you think. As I said, I've been Joe, and as we always say, in whichever video of ours you watch next, we will see you all next time. Thanks so much, everybody.